So the reason why Richard III is so interesting is because he was one of the only kings of England where we didn't know where his grave was. So having found these remains that could have been him, it was using science, archaeology, history, genealogy, forensics, all of these disciplines together to be able to identify the remains as being those. So for me, working interdisciplinarily has been something that I've been doing for years. The really nice thing about this project was it also involved the public as well, because it was the Richard III Society, members of their society, who came to us first to actually start the project. And then obviously because there was such press interest, it was working with our press office and working with local media outlets to bring the story to the public in the most effective way. So the thing about the Richard III project is it is a wonderful story about this missing king of England and the search and the identification of him. So it's finding other stories in the science that people do. Why is this important? Why does it touch on people's lives? Finding those human interest stories that are really important to telling the science behind that story. I think that with science, the storytelling brings people into the science behind it. So that's one of the nice things about the Richard III project, is the story itself of the search for him is a way of slipping in the science behind it. And where appropriate, I do often talk about how actually a lot of this can be really boring and a really long slog and lots of hours in the lab. And you can actually put that into the story where it's appropriate to do that, to tell people about how science actually works. Sadly, it's not just all amazing discoveries and so on and so forth. A lot of work that we do is just very, very incremental steps, lots and lots of hard work to get to those big results that we're looking for. So one of the things that scientists do, particularly in the medical stories, is find a human interest case. So if you can talk about how this would affect somebody personally, if you find somebody who's actually got a disease or something that's been affected by medical research, that's a really good way into it. And as a way of kind of bringing the science to the public, but in a slightly roundabout way. I think people really engage well with stories. So if you can find that story element and then tell them about the science at the same time, that's the best thing to do. I think it's incredibly important that scientists, if they can, do public engagement, because usually you're the one who's most passionate about the work that you are doing. So if you can bring that passion to your storytelling, I know that it can be definitely dull and boring for long, long periods. But when you want to talk about a piece of your work and you've been working about it for so long, if you can bring that passion when you are talking about it, other people will feel it too and start to become interested.